Tonight, we will be speaking with 4 grassroots organizers from New York City to discuss the current state of Black and brown communities and to learn what resources are available to help young professionals in these communities advance and to make a lasting social impact. I am your host, Monica Sekhmet Grant, and this is The Vanguard. Thank you for watching The Vanguard. Today we have very special guests. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, starting with Kayla.
Hi, my name is Kayla Samantha Rivera, and I am the owner of the political Maven, and I'm a housing organizer out of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
How you doing? My name is Russell Cheek. I am a community activist. I am an organizer. I do a lot of work around affordable housing throughout the city and primarily the Bronx.
Hello, good evening. My name is Leilani Irvin. I'm the co-founder and president of Millennial Voting Power. I'm also an active DC 37 Local 372 union member.
Hello, I'm Hawk Newsome, president of Black Lives Matter of Greater New York, and I am a Bronxite.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
Now I know this might seem with all the cameras very official, but we want to have a real good conversation about what's going on in Black and brown communities in America. You know, this is some of the same conversation that we have at our homes, but never actually gets to be broadcast, because this is the real conversation that we want to have amongst people and what we can do to create real solutions for our communities. Now, Hawk, I know you've been out here really hitting the pavement across the country. So from your perspective of just traveling, and I know you were just at a Trump rally, what is the state of Black and brown communities that you see?
I'm glad that you prefaced it as such, because Black and brown go hand in hand. The only time that we're separated is when our oppressors separate us. So we grow up, let's say in the Bronx, Harlem, anywhere in the city, Brooklyn. You have Latino classmates. You go to their houses, their mothers speak to you in Spanish, and you try and learn little words here and there so you can converse with her. Right. Same with Jamaican moms speaking patois, right? That's right. And you're just trying to keep up for a while, but you're definitely appreciating the food. You know, you're going to the family parties for Christmas, and you're always interacting. It's like Black and brown. Yeah, you're Latino. Black, but like we in this together.
Absolutely.
And the only time that that's separated is when it comes to politics, right? So when we're talking about, more jobs for Latinos, right? More money for Latino organizations. Vote for this Latino candidate, vote for this Black candidate. Like, our oppressors separate us when there's so much power in our unity. People say that I have, racist viewpoints, but my viewpoints are real. A person comes from anywhere in this world that has white skin, they are assimilated as white.
Exactly.
Russian, Italy, Italy, wherever they come from, they assimilate Irish as white.
That's
right.
right. That's right.
But when Black folks come, you're Jamaican, I can't deal with you. You're African, you're
Haitian.
Dominican, Dominicans, Haitians, same island, same complexion, but we are not the same. I don't get that. But our oppressors, and I'm not saying all white people are bad, but there's something called white privilege, right? And there's something called white power that oppresses other people.
There's a structure there.
There's a structure there, white supremacist power structure. So if we want to combat that, we have to do that as a unified front. And then we start dealing with those issues like education, police brutality, economics. We can tackle those together.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, the Black Lives Matter movement, it came about around, police brutality, Black men getting assaulted and murdered across the country, and finally we're able to record it, and be able to, publicize what's been going on. What else is Black Lives Matter seeing on a daily basis as far as this community organizing and speaking to people?
That's an interesting question. Now, the organization was founded by 3 queer women, right? They have a global network, and they have rules and regulations that they live by. Black Lives Matter Greater New York is what we created that spurned out of that movement.
Okay,
you have
speak about
32 official chapters of Black Lives Matter, but you have 400 organizations that organize under Black Lives Matter, right? So if you notice our colors are Pan-African colors, right? Red, black, and green. Are we hardcore Pan-Africanists? No. Do we believe in the ideologies? Yes. Just like we adopt some, the philosophies of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, and I'm a Christian, I infuse that. We have Muslims. We have a lot of people who put their input in who and what we are. But what I see on a day-to-day basis is my people being robbed blind. And it's not by the oppressors, so to speak. It's people who look like them, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You're working with young millennials, getting them to vote, right? But at some point, you got to say, it's not just enough to vote, which I'm sure you tell people all the time. Vote for people that are going to take care of you,
That's right.
that are going to respect you and protect you.
That's right.
That's right.
Like elections in New York City are won with turkeys.
Okay.
You're right.
Thanksgiving turkeys, right?
Let's take some
They-
pictures, you know,
Yeah,
you kiss some
photo op.
babies, you know, play the game. Let me have hot sauce in my purse, you
That's
know.
it.
I'll relate to you.
Yeah.
And then when things really hit the fan, I'm out.
That's it.
That's
like
it.
you
That's it.
don't, because you know why? I'm going to take the old ladies who tell their communities how to vote.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take them to Atlantic
That's
City,
right.
Botanical Gardens.
That's right.
I'm gonna come around. I'm gonna give some things out. I'll show up for when you want to give me awards. I'll make you all feel special and valid. But what
right.
you don't know is that these real estate developers who are funding all of this are coming to push y'all. I can't curse.
Get you a
They're
bag.
coming to push your behind
That's right, that's
out
right.
of your apartments. And this is something I always say, follow the money.
That's right.
Right? Because you look at, it's scandal after scandal. Real estate developers paying politicians. When the heat comes down on them, these politicians are protecting the real estate developers.
right.
Meanwhile,
That's right.
there's urine and defecation in the projects, right? In the hallways, our kids are walking by. Our kids have old books. There's this beef between charter schools and public schools.
Right.
It's just so much. Our streets aren't safe.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And I think if we really took a step back and decided that we wanted to build power and organize our communities to vote for people like Russell, right?
I would love to see
vote-
that.
Man, listen, they gonna have all kind of assassination attempts and all that because I stand for what we stand for at this table in terms of the topic and that solidarity and social equity, you know what I'm saying, economic equity, and to be able to get a fair shake at the table. You know what I mean? And sometimes they try to stifle and muffle our voices. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love and commend my brother because,
Right.
you know, he's took a stand that's not always favorable and it's not always liked. You know what I'm saying? And he already showed that this is not a popular, this ain't about popularity, it's about what's real. We keep it straight up and down at 6 o'clock. And the honest reality is that we being bamboozled, and more times than not, it's by our own.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And it's sad. You know, the political piece, just to touch on it real briefly, when you talk about the housing piece, these developers, like you said, you know, they are buying our elected officials in many respects. On various different campaigns throughout the city, I have stood and watched elected officials compromise their integrity for the dollar and sell out the community. And City Field, Queens was one of those primary areas where everything that was established in the 2008 agreement with our elected officials was ripped apart by one council member. You know what I'm saying? All for the name of big development, casinos and malls and all this crazy stuff when they was promised a certain amount of housing units of affordable housing.
Right.
And all that stuff was taken off the table for the dollar. So that's the kind of stuff that we're looking at throughout the city.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's becoming more prevalent as the days go by. I don't even know where we're going to live come 2020. You know what I mean? They're trying to run us
That's
back
a good
south.
question. That's a good
Fact,
question.
bro.
You know, what do we do about housing? You know, Kayla, you're a housing organizer. What's the state of housing in New York right now?
It's interesting that both of you gentlemen brought up developers and how many times the elected officials are in the pocket of developers. And we can see that exactly where we are right now. We're in a neighborhood that is considered Billionaires Row. And why is it considered Billionaires Row? It's because we have buildings that were supposed to be built under 421A tax credits to have affordable units. But we have developers undermining these policies and these structures that are supposed to really assist the poorest people in our community. So for instance, we have 157, which is right on the corner of 57th Street and Columbus Circle, the biggest residential building in New York City. They use tax credits for that. And the money that they were supposed to use was supposed to build somewhere close to 370 units of affordable housing within this neighborhood. What ultimately happened was they built 66 affordable units off-site because the law allows for off-site. So there's a building in the Bronx that is 66 units that was a direct impact of 157. That's something that I saw in my time working in the rezone in East New York, Cypress Hills, and Brownsville. A lot of the developers would say, okay, we want to build affordable housing. We're going to build a market rate unit right here on Fulton Ave under the J train in Cypress Hills. And our affordable units will be in very deep part of Brownsville where there are no trains, there's no accessibility for the community. It's a food desert, but the law allows for you to have these set-asides and for you to build units in other places. Furthermore, we have the idea of area median income. So many times.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so it's AMI for long, it's area median income. And it's what the city of New York uses to gauge affordability, but also levels of poverty and so on. So right now, the AMI is for a family of one, if you're at 30% of that, which means that you are living at New York's perception of the poverty level is $20,000.
Right.
For a family of four, it's roughly $28,000. But we have so many New Yorkers that are living below the poverty line.
Right.
They're not at 60 and 120% of the AMI. So when we're building affordable housing and we're tying it directly to the area and median income of the community, many times we're leaving behind the single parents that are making $12,000 a year. We're leaving behind the elderly that are on fixed incomes. The system is broken. For lack of a better statement, the affordable housing system in New York City is broken because so many of the laws go to benefit the developers as opposed to benefiting those people that are at the community.
And can I just add on to what you were saying with that, because that's so real, because in certain parts of the Bronx, they use Westchester County as part of their AMI. You know what I mean? So now you're saying, you're thinking, and just to keep it a little more layman, it's like they base it on what they think the income is of that community. So now they're saying that the AMI is like 70,000. Ain't nobody in the South Bronx getting 70 stacks.
That's not real.
Like, that's not real for us. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the Bronx
How did they get away with that?
That's when we have to look at our legislators, you know what I'm saying? Because when we start doing these census and stuff like that, be real with it. You know, there's parts of Queens where you get caught like close to like Rikers Island. Rikers Island is the Bronx. You know what I mean? And there's an area over there where, you know what I'm saying, they do the same thing where they're kind of like flipping the AMI to say that, yo, the income in this neighborhood is over 70,000, when the reality is ain't nobody getting over 25. So now they can justify how they build because they say the people in this neighborhood can afford it, and that's not real.
And so what's the impact of that?
So the impact is a great deal of displacement, because now when you come in here and you justify it and you get away with it, now you start building apartments for people who have an income of $70,000, $60,000, $80,000, and I'm in the hood and I'm flipping burgers right here at McDonald's, and I'm getting I just started getting 15.
That's right.
That apartment's not for me.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So that's an automatic form of displacement, because you know what you building I can't afford. So who you building it for?
Who you building it for?
You know what I mean?
And where am I supposed to go?
So where am I supposed to go? So now, you know, that is like the catalyst of the pandemic, because housing is a pandemic here in the city of New York.
That's right.
And when I look at the Bronx, where we from, because I'm a boogie down Bronx, I'm from New York family, but I like to say currently my place of residence is in the Bronx, and I've been up here for the last 22 years. We are one of the most impoverished boroughs in the city. You know what I'm saying? And the income there is beyond low. You know what I'm saying? We are below the poverty level. So, you know, and just to tie into what we do at Banana Kelly, our job, and I say it's our job and it's incumbent upon us to ensure that we maintain some level of affordable housing in the South Bronx area. We got 52 buildings with 1,800 units of affordable housing, and we're still trying to accumulate more because we realize that there's a need for this. And just like we doing it in the Bronx, I know that there are other organizations throughout the city that are fighting the same fight. This is a universal fight, man. And that we don't really kind of like get at our elected officials, you know what I'm saying, and expose them, because exposure builds composure. If we expose you, maybe you'll compose a better you and do the right thing for your people, because sometimes they forget who they work for.
That's right.
See,
That's right.
This is why I talk about community, right? Like me, you know, I have a business degree, I have a law degree, I'm an organizer. That's what I do. And I bring people together to fight for a cause. So what you're doing, right? I'll take a bullhorn to that
Yeah.
And we'll get in front
Blow
of
it
these
up.
elected
And blow it
officials,
up.
And blow it.
offices, and let people know exactly what's happening. The problem is, everybody runs around talking about woke. Our people are really walking around like zombies.
That's
right.
And they have
That's right.
no idea, like names like Deborah Dana, right? 66-year-old schizophrenic woman killed in her house, cops on trial, right? We stood in front of the district attorney's office for 2 months straight every morning, like
Right.
prosecute this cop.
Right.
And he was charged higher than any cop in 20 years, right? But just to say, nobody wants us showing up in
At the-
front of
in
their
front of their
office.
Right,
true.
every
That's
day.
And I'm here for it. I got time. I'm here for it.
Right.
But that's what it is, right?
doubt.
So when we start talking about what you're doing and closing the gap on these offsite buildings, what I say is let's start a public awareness campaign.
There you go.
Okay.
You know, I got
There you go.
bodies and if it's 220 or 200, we get out there and let their constituents know I'm all about the SHITs.
That's right.
I'm with
That's
the
right.
SHITs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
for
we
sure.
we really gotta turn the heat up on and let our people know what's really happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely get back to that. We have to go to a break. We'll be right back. Today we are here with Gillian Alex. She's a writer, author, and spoken word artist. How you doing today?
Tuesday at 3 tells the story of a girl in New York City. Her name is Alexa Ross. It follows her through 1 year of her life, and during that year she finds her womanhood. Listen, had never done spoken word, used to talk crap about people who did spoken word, like, please, you and your incense and your snaps. And it was this amazing spoken word piece called Put Some Respect on Our Name. It's an ode to the strength and perseverance and beauty and bravado of being a black girl. Listen, let the record show. I only hang out with smart, pretty people. I mean, come on.
With the best.
I
I take all them kisses.
Mwah,
I take all kisses. All
We
kisses.
love
All guests
it.
should come on and kiss me. That's
You see
that
that?
need to be the
I'm
close
setting
and
the
outro.
trend.
Set the trend for me.
I want my money.
I got you. They gotta pay up.
They gonna
You're
have
gonna have
to.
to be the booking agent. They gonna have to pay up.
That's fine.
Okay, we'll
we
work
got
it out.
people.